Welcome everyone to the Object Speech presentation. My name is Professor Thomas Nuara. In order to do this, you are going to need a couple of things. The first thing you're going to need is your memorable object. This object should be something that has a significant meaning to you and your life. It could be anything. It could be a bracelet. It could be a necklace. It could be a knickknack sitting on your shelf, a scarf that your grandmother made you, or even a painting. We're looking for something that has value to you. You will also need an index card, a recording device, and obviously something to write with. Now that you have your object in hand and are ready to begin, you have to ask yourself, where do I begin? Well, the most common way and the best way to start this speech would be to tell us a story. You're going to hear this from me many times throughout my videos. The most powerful and impactful way to start any speech or presentation is with a story. For this object speech, tell us a story about where you got your item. Then introduce somewhere along the line what it is. And while you're doing so, this is where you would tell us why this item is so significant to you. Don't just stand there and say, "Hi, my name is so-and-so, and this is my item." You can do better than that, and the best way to do so would be to start it with a story about where you got your item. Why do we start with a story? Well, the answer is quite simple. In order to captivate your audience's attention, the best way to do so is with a story. By telling a story, you are more apt to get an audience to focus on you and the words that you are saying. Think of when you pick up a book and you start reading. If the author tells you a great story right from the start, you're going to be more focused on not wanting to put that book down and truly get into it and really continue to read. But if the story is not that great in the beginning, the chances are you may put that book down. Well, why is this important? Well, simple. You're delivering content or a speech or a lecture, and if your audience is not paying attention, what are they going to take from it? What are they going to get out of this time that they're giving you? Time is important. I always say that it's the one commodity that you can never replace. Start your speeches and your presentations with a story, and you will notice that your audiences will pay much more attention to you. And then, where do we go next? Well, that's simple. The body of the speech or presentation. And that's the easy part. That's your meat and potatoes. Once you get started, continuing to speak becomes so much easier. Here we are. Now let's take everything that we've learned and put it all together. Here are your final directions in order to build a successful object speech presentation. You have between 90 seconds and 3 minutes to complete this. You are to take your index card and list no more than 10 words on the front of this index card. These are your trigger words. Your object is important to you, and you know what it is and why it's important. However, everything that I will teach you, you will use some sort of guide. Remember, memorization is not the way to deliver a successful speech. By using keywords on your index card, every time you look down at this card, you will see something that will trigger a thought process. Use that card, put 10 words on the front, and turn it over. On the back of your index cards, I want you to write down 3 times that it took you to perform this speech, meaning turn your phone on, hit the record button, deliver the speech, and hit stop. Look at the time on that video and write that down in the back. By doing so, you will get a better idea of how long your speech is taking to complete. When starting your speech, remember we want to start with that attention-getting story. Do not start with "Hi, my name is." Do not start with, "Hi, this is my item, and I'm going to tell you about it today." Remember what we talked about in the beginning of this. Tell us a story to get our attention. After your story, lead us into what your object is. Please make sure that during the speech you show your objects. Don't just tell us about it. We have to see it. As you are ready to conclude, as this is not a very long project, please do not end with the words "thank you" or "that's it." Let your ending be an impact. Make it something that we will remember. I heard my boss talk about this project, and I listened to her words, and it holds true. In a classroom live, this speech is usually done on day 2, and they're so memorable that if you were to ask students on the final day to remember what students brought in what object, most of you would remember what your fellow classmates brought in. And that's because you set out to make an impact at the end of your speech. When you are done with this, please record this speech with a video and upload it to the proper channels. Why did I make you do this speech? Why did I put you up to this exercise? Well, I don't think it's fair for me just to tell you to do something and not tell you why, so let me explain. There are 4 goals in the end that this speech will help you achieve. The first one I went over in great detail throughout this presentation, and that is to perform a proper introduction. I went over the biggest and most impactful way to do so, which was to tell a story. I don't want to spend much more time on this, but I really hope that I left an impact with you by going over how important it truly is to you as a speaker and to your audience whose attention you're trying to gain. The second goal is for you to perform a proper closing. We don't want to end a speech with "thank you." We don't want to end a speech with "that's it." We don't want to end a speech with "okay, well, I'm done now." No, you want to leave an impact with your audience, a memorable ending, if you will. You have to find a way to leave that impact. Every speech is different. Every speaker is different. Every one of us is a unique individual. But in the end, when closing a speech, you want to make sure that every individual in that audience remembers your speech and your content. The last 2 goals of the speech are to continue to get you comfortable in front of others. The icebreaker speech gets you in front of that camera delivering a speech for the first time. This one follows that up. You should have gotten a little bit more comfortable seeing your audience, knowing who your audience is, and now it will continue to get easier the more that you do this. And the final goal is time control. I've given you a set parameter of time in order to deliver the content. You now have to practice to hit that goal. Remember, you have 90 seconds to 3 minutes. It is a very large window to complete this project in. Make sure that you're timing and practicing your speeches to hit this goal.